Welcome to Metrocasting. I'm Doug Farley. In this episode, we're going to take you on a unique, seldom seen journey, the journey of recycling. Recycling is and has been available in communities across the country, if not the world, for decades. The purpose of recycling, in case you've forgotten, is to reduce the amount of waste we humans produce by taking something that's already served its purpose and turning it into something new, something reusable. Let's start at the beginning, at home with you. In most communities, you're asked to separate your plastics, your cans, and your papers into separate containers to be collected and taken to a recycling center in your area. The separation of materials is important, so recyclers can lump all the same type of material, such as plastics or cans, together for eventual resale. That's kind of how recyclers make their money. Lately, in many communities in the Metrocast viewing area, something new in the collection of recyclables has begun. For instance, in Berwick, you no longer have to worry about separating all your recyclable materials. That's right. Now in the Berwick area, you can just throw all of your plastics, all of your cans, and all your papers into one single bin. The reason is something called single stream recycling. Single stream recycling basically means all your recyclables can and are being collected by Knorr Hauling in Berwick and mixed all together into the back of one of their trucks. Once the truck is full, it heads up to the landfill near Williamsport, where a machine now takes all those cans and plastics and papers that were once all mixed together in the back of a truck, and it separates them through a series of conveyor belts and other devices. Jason Yorks is the Resource Recovery Manager for the Resource Management Services Facility, the Lycoming County Landfill, and the Recycling Center, all in Montgomery, PA, up near Williamsport. This is relatively new, I think, for a lot of people. What is it you guys do here?
What we do is we process all the recyclables. We service about 6 counties. Any hauler that offers single stream recycling plus some drop-off material does come in. We'll process it, break it apart from the containers, which are your plastics, tin, and aluminum. Then we'll also separate that from your fibers, which are your news, magazines, cardboard, milk container, any of that stuff that's fiber, we'll separate that out and run it through other systems to separate them down to the simplest forms.
And it's all done by conveyors. Explain the process. So Mike Knorr shows up with a bunch of recycling from Berwick. What are we doing? He dumps it off, and then it goes to what?
Well, absolutely. Mike Knorr is a great customer. He brings in the material, which is really looking good. He's bringing it in. We put it in a metering bin, bring it up through the pre-sort. The pre-sort is just a line that we're going to pull any of the objects. If there's a mixed rigid plastic or something large, which you are allowed some of the items, and along with steel, any large steel items that shouldn't be in there, we'll pull them out to protect the equipment. Any shredded office paper, if we see any shredded bagged office paper, we pull that out. Yes, we'll take it, we can handle it, we'll put it in the line or in a container in a bunker away from the system. The fiber's then going to come across with the containers. The first set of screens is going to pull the cardboard away from every other object. Once the cardboard's out and goes to the baler, then the newsprint, magazines, and small items of cardboard and chipboard, soda boxes, they get separated from your tin, your glass, your aluminum, things like that. Once you have that separated, you have your containers go one line, the fibers go another. The fibers will go up to what we call the fiber line, where the employees will pull the items. Any bottles that might make it up through the line will get pulled out. We'll put the newsprint in one bunker. Any of the low-grade chipboard items like your soda boxes, cereal boxes, things of that nature will go into another bunker. The containers, which are your plastics, your tin, and your glass, again, they're going to go into an optical sortation system where all water bottles will be pulled out by one optical sorter, then all number 2 HD milk jugs will be pulled out, then all number 2 laundry detergent, which we call colored HDP, that'll come out. So we'll have 3 optical sorters pull that out, then it goes through a magnet. If there's any tin, that comes out. Finally, it goes to an eddy current, and eddy current is a device that pulls the aluminum out, and above that is the 4th green eye, and that is used to pull out the cartons, which are we call aseptics and gable tops. The gable tops and the aseptics are your orange juice and milk cartons, ice cream containers. So this is where it comes. This is where it comes daily. We process roughly 20 tons an hour, and we're always looking to be able to move more material. The less we're putting in the landfill, the more we bring through recycling, the less landfill space we use up.
Again, in case you missed that, Jason says they process about 20 tons of recycled material an hour. When you look around a place like this, you get a pretty good sense of just how much waste we as Americans produce on a weekly or even daily basis. It's a pretty staggering amount. Now, realizing Jason gave a good but rather quick overview of how single-stream recycling works, let's take a second, slightly slower look. First, the trucks bring the recyclables in. Any large metals or shredded office paper in those plastic bags is removed and placed elsewhere so that sorting machines are not damaged. Then the recyclable materials is scooped up and placed into the single-stream recycling machine, where the first items to be separated are the various types of larger cardboards. Next, the newspapers and magazines are separated from the containers, the cans and the bottles. The newspapers and magazines, or fibers as they're known in the recycling world, get sent to another line where employees make sure such items as glass or cans don't accidentally end up in the paper bins. Yes, humans are still needed in the process to catch occasional mistakes, which could lower the price of a bale of recycled material and or cause problems for whoever winds up buying the recycled bales. Problems like breaking the buyer's machines. So it is very important everything gets sorted properly before getting baled for sale. Once the cans and bottles get sorted from the paper, a series of optical sorters seek out various types of plastics and separate them. As Jason said, the water bottles get sorted first, then the milk jugs and laundry detergent containers. The optical sorters look for those types of plastics and make sure they get flung, literally, onto different conveyors than the metals. The metals are then run first under a magnet, which pulls out any tin, and then through an eddy current, which pulls out aluminum items. There's also a fourth green eye in that area, which pulls out any aseptics or gable-top containers, more commonly known as orange juice and milk cartons and ice cream type containers.
Those are items that are heavily pushed by an organization called the Carton Council North America. That organization helped fund purchase of that fourth optical sorter, which we're able to, that's an item that we weren't able originally to offer in single stream, but because of the grant and the Carton Council North America, we're able to offer that as a service to all the citizens that take up single stream recycling with their haulers like Mike Knorr in the area of Berwick and all the Danville. I know single stream's pretty heavy throughout the area.
From there, everything gets placed into the appropriate bins where they're eventually crushed and baled for sale. Jason explained the importance of making sure everything has been properly separated.
Talk about your buyers. That's a big point of this. See, if some of the stuff gets mixed with certain things they don't want, there's a problem.
Well, yeah. One of the items is waxed cardboard. That material is not waxed. That's low-density polyethylene coating. Waxed cardboard is typically material used in produce shipment, and that material we don't have a buyer for, unfortunately. We can't accept it. We do get it. We have to pull it out and put it in with the contaminated material that's no good for us. So that's one of the items. Anytime people bagged up their items, it slows our process down. The idea is we don't need the bags. We'll handle them. We put them through a bag vacuum system. But the idea is to try to let that material run as fast and as dry as possible. So if your hauler's offering you single stream, you should be getting a 96-gallon wheeled tote. That way it'll keep your material dry, keep it in one container. You don't need to bag it. So there's really no need to put the extra effort of bagging your recyclables to go into the container.
And you're talking like a big black plastic garbage bag and putting all your plastics in that. You don't need to do that.
No, any of your grocery store bags, any of the large garbage bags, any of that material, yeah, we'll accept it and we'll deal with it. It's just, there's really no market for it, unfortunately. My buyers buy your newsprint, your cardboard, your magazines, the high-end items, your aluminum, your tin, but the things like plastic bags, they're almost impossible to move.
And when you're finally gone through the whole process, everything kind of gets baled up into big batches, right?
Absolutely. We market our materials in 20-ton loads. You'll see tractor trailers coming in. We'll load them with anywhere from 25 to 35 or 40 bales, depending on the material. Each type of material weighs a little different in the baled form, but we will sell it in 20-ton loads. We do send some over export. Most of it goes domestically. There is material that does ship over into the Asian markets. Typically, we'll put 44,000, which is 22 tons on one of those loads. But everything is 20 tons to 22 tons typically.
So what do you need to know to make sure your recyclables don't end up in the landfill instead of the sorter? According to Mike Knorr, put all of your items to be recycled in the same large bin: cans, bottles, and paper. Try not to place your papers in plastic bags, but if you do, don't tie those plastic bags. Mike and his crew or other recyclers will not be able to tell if it's paper to be recycled or if it's just garbage. Everything in the single stream recycling process needs to be loose and as dry as possible. So if you can, put all your recyclables in one large container and put a lid on it. Or keep your smaller containers covered. Everyone in the recycling process appreciates your recycling efforts, especially Mother Earth. It's a truly amazing process, and we thank everyone involved for allowing us to ride along and show you how it all happens, especially Knorr Hauling, the Resources Services Management Facility and landfill in Lycoming County, and of course, One for All Single Stream Recycling. For more information about the recycling process in this area, log on to oneforallsinglestream.com. That is where you will find information on the recycling process in our area, as well as current recycling stats and figures. That'll do it for this episode of Metrocasting. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again after later.